What's going on, guys? It's JD the Sports Guy. I haven't done a video in a while because I've been very busy with work. And it's been about a year, but it's NBA Finals time, and I definitely want to get in the video for everybody who likes to battle me on Facebook and whatnot. I'm picking the Miami Heat in 6 games to win this series. And I know everybody's going to say something like, yeah, but didn't you just see the Miami Heat struggle against the Pacers? And didn't you just see the Spurs sweep the Grizzlies? Yes, I did. I watched the series and I saw what happened. Um, if anybody can remember what happened just around 365 days ago, uh, Miami Heat went against the Celtics. Now, last year I was against the Heat. I was against the Heat. I was against LeBron because I hated that he snubbed my team. I was mad that he didn't choose to go to the Knicks, but I had to get over. I had to get over my hate because when somebody's really good, I mean, not just really good, when somebody's great, you can't hate them for trivial, stupid reasons. I wanted the Boston Celtics to win last year, but what made me change my mind was Game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals when LeBron just played out of his mind basketball. He literally carried that team by himself. And they were down 3-2. They were down 3-2 to an old, decrepit Celtics team that had no business taking them to 6 games. They had no business being up in that series. Just like we saw what happened to them against the Knicks this year. They just got, wasted. But anyway, LeBron James carries the team on the back for Game 6, and then they come back home to Miami, to South Beach, and they beat them, and they beat them pretty convincingly in Game 7. At this time, the Oklahoma City Thunder had just finished playing a series against the San Antonio Spurs in which they were down the first 2 games of that series. San Antonio, if anybody remembers, you can look it up if you don't remember, they had a big 2-0 lead on the series, and then all of a sudden, whatever happened, they lost the next 4. I mean, just the more quicker, the more athletic the younger Oklahoma City Thunder team. I mean, they just ran through them in the next 4 games. And everybody thought that the Spurs, that the Thunder was going to come into Miami and that they were just going to lay waste to the Miami Heat because the Miami Heat went 7 games against a team that they shouldn't have gone against 7 games against. And if anybody remembers, Miami beat them in 5 games. They lost the first game, and everybody and their mother was saying, not me. At that point, I was all sold out for LeBron again. At that point, everybody was saying, oh, the series is going to be over. They're going to get swept. I heard everybody from Joe Smo to Stephen A. Smith saying, oh, this series is over. They're going to get swept. And lo and behold, Miami won the next 5 games to capture their second championship and LeBron's first title. What I think is going to happen is something a little similar, okay? The reason why the Heat struggled against the Pacers this year is because the Pacers are everything that the Heat weren't. They were not the better team, but they're everything that the Heat aren't. They're strong, they're physical, they're big, and they turn the ball over, and they don't score a lot. They're slow, okay? And they had the biggest matchup advantages in key positions. The power forward position with David West and the center position with Roy Hibbert. Both of those guys made Chris Bosh look really small. Not to top it off that Dwayne Wade was having a horrible series for whatever reason. And they still couldn't pull it out. The Pacers still got beat. And every single loss that the Pacers had, save for Game 1 when LeBron James won that game on the buzzer beater, every single game, game 3, game 5, game 7, they got blown out every single loss. The only time it was close was when Roy Hibbert was able to get off. Roy Hibbert was able to make Chris Bosh look really small. And the Spurs, they looked really good. They just finished sweeping a team in the Memphis Grizzlies, who, in my opinion, had no reason being in the Western Conference Finals, because Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook, he got injured. Okay, now that's a big loss. He's their second best player. Oklahoma City Thunder, in my opinion, was going right back to the Western Conference Finals. Of course they couldn't because Westbrook got hurt. But I think that if the Oklahoma City Thunder met up against the San Antonio Spurs again, I think the same result would have happened. I think that the Spurs would have not been able to get past Oklahoma City. And the reason is because Oklahoma City has the matchup advantages. I mean, they have a player who is the second best player in the NBA in Kevin Durant. Okay, and last year we saw it. They won the final four games. They won the series 4-2 because they're more athletic. They were younger, and teams in the NBA, they don't get when another year goes by, they don't get younger. They don't get athletic. They don't get more athletic. In the case of Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan. With that being said, I know that Miami just finished going 7 games against the Pacers. I hope I've explained why. Okay. But the Heat, in my opinion, should certainly win this series in 6 games. I'm going to respect the Spurs enough to say that they could win 2 games because Greg Pop is a great coach. They have the matchup advantage in Tim Duncan. They also have a matchup advantage in Tony Parker. Manu Ginobili is not playing that well right now, and neither is Dwayne Wade, so that kind of cancels each other out. But there's not that much of a wide margin. Yes, Tim Duncan is better than Chris Bosh, but the gap in between those two is not that big as everybody might suspect because they both have similar games. They both play the same way. They both finesse bigs. You know, they rebound just as well as the other guy. They both shoot jumpers, and you know, they should almost cancel each other out. Okay? Tony Parker is a huge is a huge, you know, has a huge advantage over Mario Chalmers and Norris Cole, which is true. Which is true. He's going to be the best point guard on the floor until LeBron James decides to guard him. LeBron James in my opinion, is going to be the X factor. He's the guy that we're all going to, you know, look at to see just how good this dude really is. Okay? They have nobody on the Spurs who can match up against LeBron. However, the Heat, I think, in my opinion, have people that can match up very well against the San Antonio roster. Because even though San Antonio is pretty big, I mean, they're not, you know, a big old physical, hard-nosed team. You know, they're just a really good team. Okay? And it's almost pretty even. If you go through their roster, it's almost pretty even. You know, there's not too many guys who is any different than anybody, I guess, on the Spurs is on the Heat. You know, I mean, you have Ray Allen, who's obviously not in his prime anymore. Manu Ginobili's not playing well, but neither is Dwayne Wade. You know, he showed us a little something in Game 7, scoring 21 points, but even that's not really the best that we've ever seen Dwayne Wade be. And if LeBron James can just get a little bit of that, then he should have no problem in beating San Antonio. So I'm really picking San Antonio to put up a good fight, to win a couple of games. Also, don't forget, it's a 2-3-2 format, meaning Miami has the first 2 games at home, then the next 3 are in San Antonio, and then the Heat have the final 2 remaining games at home. Now, it's impossible. It's going to be impossible for the Spurs to sweep all 3 of those home games. Sure, they can win on the road. I don't know if they can, but let's say they do split. I expect actually them to go back into San Antonio being 1-1. But I still think that the Heat have the advantage where they can win 1 or 2 of the games that's in San Antonio. And then you have Game 6 and Game 7 if needed that are going to be in Miami. Favors the home team too much. And as we've seen, when Miami's playing well, like they did in that 27 game win streak, those guys are awfully difficult to beat. So no disrespect to the Spurs. They're going to play a great series because they have Greg Popovich, who's a fantastic coach. But Eric Spoelstra is no slouch either. He's a really good coach. And I know some of you guys might say, oh, well, he's got the best player in the world. And so what? So did Phil Jackson. So what? And he's still a fantastic coach. He's still the best, the most winningest coach in NBA history. So Eric Spoelstra is a really good coach. He's very smart. I don't think there's really much of a coaching advantage because he's certainly outcoached the heck out of Frank Vogel, especially in the last game. I mean, they just blew the doors off him. Anyway, I don't see any team beating Miami 4 times in a series. Not this year anyway. So giving the edge to Miami to win this game in 6. And I actually think they could do it in 5. But I'm certainly saying Miami Heat in 6. Peace.